Hey, what's up, party people? I have to give my thoughts on the day. Why not do them on my channel? First and foremost, it's incredible how we look at things from the Monday morning quarterback view. Of course, we're talking about, for example, the Tennessee school shooting. I'd rather look like this than be. And what makes it very humbling, and yes, those men should be hailed as heroes who took down that school shooter. There's certain things about that school shooting that I knew from many years of experience. And if you're watching, give me a woo in the chat. I would tell you the Nashville school shooter said in his manifesto that he skipped his original school target due to too much security. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this shit that I'm about to say. We protect our money better than we do our children. I'm going to say it again. We protect our money better than we do our children. I don't think that we comprehend the dangers that many of our children are under just going the fuck to school. Now. We are all told by, excuse me, politicians on the right and the left, many a times, we need gun control. We need bans on high capacity rounds and all this other shit. We need to raise the age restriction. We need to limit the magazine capacity. We need to ban AR-15s, even though 75% of active shooters are by handguns. But the cops put down a monster with an AR-15, with handguns. I know, I know. I know. And trust me, I'm going to get even more in depth once I find more information about it. By the way, Rex Engelberg, Officer Engelberg, Michael Colzado, thank you for being the heroes that you are. Thank you for putting down a monster who killed 3 children and 3 adults. Thank you. You are heroes and should be hailed as such. Too many people would send their children to school and never ask about the security protocols of their own children. Many people out there only send their children to school so they could get 8 hours of reprieve. I've said it. 8 hours of reprieve. Does your school have a evacuation program, a lockdown program? What does it have? And we're going to come and sit down like cordial people and think that this isn't happening around the world? Some of you are going to have to wake up. Some of you are going to have to live in reality for a minute. Let me take that back. Majority of you are going to have to start living in reality. You have a guy armed with 3 guns, a pistol caliber AR-15, a rifle caliber AR-15, and a handgun. Are you serious? Are you serious? Let me if you can hear me in the chat. Because I noticed people didn't put anything in the chat yet, so let me know. I've said this many a times before. You could judge a country on how they protect their children and how they protect their future. And right now, we're looking suspect as hell. What's up, Free Will? What's up, AB? We're looking suspect as hell. Sometimes the most politically correct thing you could do is put a well-placed bullet in the head of tyranny, in the head of terrorism, both foreign and domestic. Sometimes you need to do that. Especially when the terrorism is coming to you and yours. What would happen if they didn't have a lockdown program? What would happen if those cops weren't there timely? See, I've always said this for years. America's reactive and not proactive. And that will constantly bite you in the ass. Constantly. You don't have to like what I say. You don't have to agree with what I say. But just know that I'm telling the truth. Free Will Defender said, Charles, when I seen the cop Cam, of them clearing the school. I was genuinely proud. And to your point, sadly, the U.S. is very reactive and not proactive, sadly. Exactly. Exactly. Who's going to defend the babies? I'm going to ask that question. Who's going to defend the babies? And far too many black folk, we agree with gun control, especially when the whole world points their guns at you. Who's protecting you and yours? Are you capable of protecting yourself? I think that's shameful. In the same vote, I would say, what good is a woman who can't cook? What good is a man who can't protect? Thank God for those officers who swooped in there like avenging angels. I'm still waiting for those fuck the police signs. I'm still waiting for that defund the police bullshit. Where are you? Where are you, naysayers and ne'er do wells? You still want to defund the police? You still want to say we should abolish law enforcement? Last time I checked, we don't have the Justice League, nor do we have the Avengers. I'm willing to take on anybody who's an opponent against law enforcement. This is law enforcement done correctly. 6 people lost their lives. You can't talk about, well, we need stricter background checks. All the guns were bought legally. Well, we need to make sure that you're only 21 to buy a gun. He was 28. We need to restrict magazine capacity. Even if you do, and you restrict it to 10, he would have 30 rounds from 3 different guns. See, free will in Baltimore, we have called school police. They go through the same academy as the city police, and they're stationed in schools. Say what you want about Baltimore, but we know we need police in our damn schools. And yes, if anybody's asking, I'm wearing a thin blue line hat that represents the police. If you don't like it, fuck you. I ain't here for your anti-police sentiments. If a police officer does something illegal, penalize that officer, not the whole damn department. By the way, go Ravens. Go Ravens. You're right, MF dear. Unfortunately, the American public will forget about this story and next week go back to cop hating. Crew said, fuck the police except Charles. That's fucked up. I mean, as I look at plenty of people, and I'm not going to get like 100 viewers like I did a year ago, which means I made it because I'm shadow banned, most likely. It'll let you think. And I love my people, but I got to question my people. Why don't we groom our own police? Why don't we raise our own protectors? I'm currently in Colorado where we're doing executive protection training. Well, people, this is what I have to say. They're proud. They have a Cabela's and what's the other store? Cabela's and another outdoor store. They're proud of it. It's the culture. Yeah, you're right, Free Will. No, no notification of me being live. That's why I'm going to ask everybody to do this. Do me a favor. Unsubscribe to me, then resubscribe to me and hit that bell. Because you don't know the bullshit that a lot of the execs in YouTube pull. Crew, I'm going to tell you that's bullshit and that's bullshit again. You're going to need trained people. And see, here's the problem when it comes to training. Not a lot of people are going to do those 6 months academic, 3 months in the field, and then the year probation of being a cop. It takes you 2 years to be a fully fledged cop. But nobody wants to do the work. You, from time immemorial to the present day and a million years in the future, you're still going to need protectors. Stop the bullshit. This is certainly not the day for anybody's bullshit. And thank God those officers were there because they kept many lives saved. So if we actually did defund the police, how many people would have been killed? Yeah, it takes you 2 years to be a fully fledged cop because you're in a year probation and they could fire you for anything. And people say 2 years, that's it. That's the longest 2 fucking years of your life. Longest 2 years of your life. You're gonna stop that dumb shit before I block you. Seriously. Seriously. I'm gonna read your fucking statement and see how stupid it is. Truck drivers are held more accountable than police. Police and protectors are not the same. That's stupid. That is so stupid. Do me a favor, erase your shit off my platform because that is the stupidest shit you could say. There's no such thing as a normal cop. Let me put it to you this way. First and foremost, you're going to need 5 years. 3 years in Baltimore police, but 5 in some. You know why? Because let me tell you, number one, a lot of motherfuckers need to practice their ability of learning their job. I've seen many of cops who couldn't write a goddamn report, couldn't write anything, couldn't detect anything, couldn't investigate anything, and now people want to be a detective because they see the shit on TV. Learn your goddamn job. I never wanted to be a detective. You know why? Because if I wanted to be a drug detective, all I got to do was stake out and look for somebody selling drugs. If I wanted to be a burglary detective, I will wait till I'm on morning shift on the wee hours of the night and stake out alleys for people breaking in houses. If I wanted to be a robbery detective, I would go look at videos of where robberies occurred. Learn your career. I understand it's what people say. I'm not in busting balls. Yes, I've heard about Jonathan Majors. And you already know how I feel. Black women are hard enough to deal with. It's hard enough to deal with a woman who knows she got an advantage over you. Kirk, what the hell did I say? If one cop does something, you go against that one cop. That's not a representative of all police. But back to what I was saying. What protocols do we have when it comes to protection? What protocols? Kurt, stop. Just stop. Because if the entire system was against you right now, you wouldn't have a job. The system would crush you. You wouldn't even have a voice. I'm going to tell you, stop the woe is me bullshit. Because if we really wanted to talk about how mighty this American system is, this system would destroy you. But yet, we don't believe in the system, but we believe in the courts being fair. Got to pick a struggle. It's either one or the other. If it wasn't again, okay, crew. Majority of the United States of America are not millionaires. Let alone billionaires. Okay? If everything was fair, I'd still be raking in 100, 150 to 200 live subscribers every time I boot this motherfucker up. But because I talk about honest shit, exactly. If life was fair, I'd have been a sergeant years ago. Well, I'm a sergeant now, but that's why I don't mind when people say Officer Faulkner, even though technically my title is sergeant now. Not technically, but reality. But guess what? Everybody's not going to, even if everything was fair for everybody in the world, everybody's not going to be a millionaire. Sorry. Sorry. Even if everything was rainbows and lollipops, sunny days and no cloudy skies, everybody would not. And I appreciate you for doing that, Kurt. But everybody would not. For example, thank you, Namer. If everything was fair, when Kevin talked to that one chick from the viral Average is Best, she would have got the man she wanted. Excuse me. But obviously, she didn't have the characteristics, she didn't have the physical attributes, and the wherewithal and the knowledge of where these men currently are and hang out. She doesn't know anything. It's like, for example, for those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, I put up a picture on my Instagram and Facebook about Denzel Washington and his wife, and how their first date, he paid for the date, but she had to pay for the cab because he ran out of money. And all these women talked about was what? How men would have used them, how they would have been used, and all this other shit. But none of the women wanted to talk about how 40% of women, and that's just the motherfuckers who would admit it, of how many times they use men to get free food dates. But men are the users when almost fucking half of you do it on a regular. I'll wait. I like the fact that life is not fair. You know why? Because it shows how valuable I truly am. Somebody need to put that in the chat. I like the fact that life is not fair because it shows how valuable I truly am. I'm an artist, but I will tell you, I'm not on the level of Art New Style TV. I'm better than the average, yeah, way better. But Art New Style is an elite class of his own. There's many things that art, just by even being on a live stream platform, he can make works of art that should literally be in museums around the planet. I'm going to give you a good example, folks. When I was a competitive wrestler, I didn't want it easy. Give me the murderous row. Give me the hardest. Give me the strongest. Give me the fastest. Give me the most skilled. Give me guys who had endurance like a goddamn car engine. Because the more skilled they were, the greater the competition I face, the better I prove who I am. I had my ex talking to me the other day. She tried to talk to some guy and said, "Oh, he's an architect, but he's stupid." And I said, every time you talk to another guy, it shows you how valuable that I am, how rare that I am. Even when I'm playing Madden, give me the tough competition. You only get better when you face greater. That's the only rule of thumb in the world. Come on now. Let's not play coy. Like even right now, this is one of the few live streams I had a live camera looking at me, smoking outside of the hotel. Thank you, Namer. You just love the competition, always looking for a challenge. Do you think I would be in cold as hell sometimes, Colorado, even though it's beautiful as hell and the air quality is beautiful, until you go up on a mountain, that shit hits you like a left hook to the body. Unless I wanted to challenge myself and get the education that experts in the field of high risk security and executive protection can give and teach me. See, here's the problem, especially in the black community. We're afraid of the challenge. We want to be better, but we're afraid of what makes us better. Do you think Malcolm and Dr. King and the Honorable Malcolm X was afraid to walk the damn streets when they knew work had to be done? I've already told y'all for years of how to play the system. If motherfuckers don't want to listen to a man who showed you and told young men how to win in a system that is against you, that is your failure. That is your failure. Shout out to guys like Angry Man. He literally lost channels. People like O'Shea who fucking flagged this shit down, and he had to start from scratch. And you know what happened after a few years? And then he started doing his shorts, which are very entertaining and funny, some of them. He outpaced O'Shea. What happened to our perseverance? What happened to being men of character? What happened to being men of steel? Men without fear? I don't know what Jason Black says because I can barely stand him for 5 to 10 minutes. A lot of what Jason Black says to me sometimes is just bitch babble. Sorry, keeping it honest. Let me let the sign show. There we go. The cough isn't COVID, man. Trust me. Sometimes when you smoke cigars, sometimes you accidentally inhale and you get the smoke out. Hey, even Cruz said he doesn't deal with Valdez, but he respects his game. That's fair. Every man has to respect the man who's on his best bullshit. Trust me, even here, I'm not the most liked in my class. Till they understood how valuable I am. Till they understand how skilled that I am. But sometimes that's what you need to do in the first place. Now, what did Jason Black say anyway? Because a lot of stuff that Jason Black does is to entertain and get the money from women. Okay? I'm in a high elevation state, smoking a cigar. I'm Gucci. But thank you for the concern. Nope, I have not linked up with BMT yet. He got his number, I got his number. Once I get settled down after training, trust me, we're going to make magic happen. By the way, he's not the only person I'm going to make magic with as well. And see, that's the one thing I love about my subscribers is that we don't have to agree, but we can be respectful about it. We can respect the man's work. We don't even have to respect what the man says. We can respect the man's work and diligence. Cruz said, Jason said, Manosphere has no men. White women have no place in conversations about black relationships. The Manosphere is alt-right black folk whining. See, let me answer that. I'm in Grand Junction, Colorado, about 3 hours from Denver, about an hour away from Aspen. where the real big ballers play. Shout out to Bit of Truth, everybody in the building. Bit of Truth. Let me tell you something about Mr. Jason Black. And I don't give a damn if y'all send him this shit and let him know I said it. First and foremost, we're not the motherfuckers who prop Hurley things up. I'm one of the first people to say she is the greatest asset that you don't have to pay. The more she talks about Black Manosphere talking points without having to pay her, guess what? You use her till you can not use her anymore. For example, one of the most strategically idiotic things the United States did was go to Iraq and depose Saddam Hussein. You know why? Because anybody who entered his regime who was either Al Qaeda or Taliban, he would kill them immediately because he sensed they were a threat to his rule. We didn't have to pay him to do that. He got rid of so many fucking enemies of the United States force without paying them. Was he a dictating asshole who deserved to be deposed? Of course. But see the strategy in that? And that's the same way I look at Pearlie. See, crew, this is man shit. I don't expect my subscribers to be drones, mindless drones. I respect them if they don't agree with me. Give me a different avenue of thought, please. Yep.
What's up, big guy?
What's up? What's up? Best thing about it is I blend so easily with the night sky.
I didn't even notice you.
That's
what you watching?
I'm actually on live.
Instagram live?
No, I'm actually live on YouTube.
Oh, that's dope.
Say what's up to my boy Frankie here in my class.
I'm dark as fuck. You can't see me.
Yeah, we all dark as fuck. I love it. The reason why I call him Frankie because he looks like a young Frankie Beverly. That's why. I showed him the picture and even he had to agree.
This is true.
Hey, if somebody says you look like a young Frankie Beverly, that's a hell of a compliment. He gonna be like, girl, yeah, I can sing, girl. Yeah, I can sing. You smoking what or you good for the night?
I'm about to go up to my room, get these Uno cards.
Uno?
Yeah.
Oh shit, who playing?
I know Youngblood want to play. Colin might play. Ian might play.
Shit, I might have to tell him to come out here. I might kick their ass in it.
He might come out here. Or he might just sit in the line.
Does he have a beard? Fuck yeah, he got a beard. If I could get the goddamn angle right. Yeah, fuck yeah, he got a beard.
Of course I do. We all got beards.
Yeah. Black man with a beard is like a superpower. What's up, man? How'd that resume come out? Hey, let me know if you need help. I'm here. It's the fact that number one, back to what I was saying, gotta have fun with your classmates. Guys like Jason is trying to make money off of women. What's on my face or arm? That's just on my face, except my glasses. Neighbor said all he needs is a guitar and he's unstoppable. What's up, JLJ? You got to realize something. It's that guys like Jason and others, they want that black female money. So they're going to say shit that they know that is absolutely incorrect. and they're going to put shit out there to talk a narrative. MF Doom said facts 100, 100, 100. Tariq and Jason want that black female FBA money. Facts. You ain't shit. You ain't shit, bae. Didn't you know Pearl ain't racist? We just jealous. See, here's the code. You go where the money is, which is usually going to be them women in our community, and you got to kiss their ass and say whatever you want. See, there's a reason why a guy like me doesn't have 10,000 subscribers. Because eyes don't give a fuck. See, here's the real code. I'm back, folks. Padawan was asking me for my advice on something. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send his black ass the link now. I don't mind listening to a conversation between me and the Padawan about this stuff, right? See, I'm gonna say something about the code. Give me a woo in the chat if you can actually still hear me. This is code, okay? This is code. This is real code. When me and my classmates or my team members are not getting along, we're still on code to know that we need each other to graduate. We talking about like men on the side. I give them their time to talk. I digest it, Then I come back with them and say my piece. And we meet in the middle to get the goddamn job done. That's how men do it. That's real code. Alright. There's the Padawan. Yo, Rob, I'm going to send the link in the chat. I only want him in the chat, okay? You're going to hear this conversation. Click the link right there in the chat. See, a lot of the manosphere need to hear from the 18, 19, 20, 21 point of view. Especially, click this link. Then I'll bring you up. See, a lot of people. What's up, D-Stro? Long time no see. See, a lot of y'all need to hear from the young crew, which I'm going to start having the young crew come up. What up, Bit of Truth? I'm going to let him come up here. Click this link right here, yo. Well, the Padawan's doing well. He's still one of my subordinates. He's about to get his commission as a special police officer, making arrests and all that good shit. See, code is with men a lot different than code is with women, okay? Real code between men, regardless of race, regardless of religion, is that shit has to be done, okay? What's up, everybody? Say what's up to the Padawan. Please get rid of the picture. But
how do I take
click
how
the
do I take it up?
cam.
Huh?
Click the cam. Yeah. Now, tell your story about Shorty who said police ain't shit and all this other stuff.
She said that the system is corrupt, right? So she said the police department is corrupt. So I said, how? I said, how? She couldn't explain it to me. So I kind of agree with her that it may be a little corrupt, but it's not how it is back then. So I said, you know what? This is how they setting us up. They put these laws here. Wait, let me go back a little bit, because I said that it used to be, oh, we go out and go get the slaves. Now it's like, all right, well, they're gonna enslave themselves. That's what I was basically trying to explain to her.
Here's what I would have told her. Show me one system in the world that doesn't have a little bit of corruption in it. If you think the police is corrupt, you better look at sports.
Right.
If you think the police is corrupt, you better look at politics.
That's what I said. Yo. That's exactly. But then she said, I don't get into politics. So I said, how could you even, do you even know what you talked about?
First and foremost, who runs the police department? The police chief or the police commissioner?
Right.
Police are under what branch of government? The executive branch.
Right.
So the mayor is the ultimate chief commander and chief of the police department, just like the president is the commander in chief of armed forces, just like the governor is the commander in chief of all the air and the regular National Guard.
Right.
So if you didn't have people in places like the police, and if the police are so corrupt, why are there so many women who call the police on their boyfriends and husbands?
And then she said, that's the thing with that. She said, well, that's just their job. That's the job that they signed up for. And I'm like,
okay.
So why are you
You know what I would have hit her with? I'd have been like, why do so many chicks have babies they can't teach? Isn't it their job?
Now that is corrupt.
Say it again louder for the people to hear.
That is corrupt.
So
Yeah,
wait a minute.
that is corrupt.
We want to talk about corruption, but you can't talk about corruption if you taking part in it.
Yo, but we enslaved. Yo, not per se us, not us per se, but we enslave ourselves though, dog. Like they're not going out and just grabbing people now and just locking them up because you're black or you owe this or owe that. No, now it's like, oh, you broke this law. You went against this law, so now we're gonna arrest you, and now we're gonna enslave you.
But here's the crazy part,
And
right?
she that's going past her head, yo. And I don't know how to explain it to her in a way that she will understand, because I don't even think she gets I don't even think she comprehends how the system is.
Let me put it to you this way. You know our boy Josh, right?
Right.
He's famous for saying this. Too many people listen to reply and not comprehend.
Right.
This
Right.
is the reason why I've always said women make bad leaders. Is it all women? No, it's just the overwhelming majority. Because they can't take themselves out the book and say, wait a minute. If the system is corrupt, but when something goes wrong, why am I calling the corruption?
Right. And then she tried to say I was being biased because I work for the system. And I'm like, bro.
Wait a minute. It's different than when I posted the picture on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, coach. Yo.
I'm back, folks.
All right.
Back. It's no different than when I said, look, at the end of the fucking day, right? You gotta realize this. How many women take advantage of a system that says, I can marry you 5 years and take half your money?
I should have hit her with that one.
But you call that shit corrupt.
I should have hit her with that one. Definitely.
What about a system that says a woman who decides to have a baby, regardless of what the man says?
But you know what I did say though? I said, coach. Hey, coach.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you know what I did say though?
What's that?
I said, well, little do you know, we got more power than you think we do. I said, well, if a lot of men came together, or men and women came together and said, you know what, we don't like this child support thing, we could strongly change that. And she said, well, that's not getting at what I'm saying. So I'm like, yo, you don't. So I don't think she really understands, like, where I'm getting at with the system thing, yo.
Let me put it. Everybody says the system is corrupt until they get a part of the system they like. When Cruz said I love Jeff, but he was so wrong with the statement. Truck drivers are held more accountable than police. There's police I know who were in jail for 30, 40, 50 years. Even when they were in the right. There were police I know from after a bullshit complaint that even after her, nah, I renege on my statement.
Right.
So, how are they held more accountable when you got truck drivers and a lot of truck drivers who were drunk, not all, but enough, held to lesser extent?
Right.
See, we got to get, when we have talks like this, it's very hard for the average person to get out their emotional state.
And really understand it, comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why it'd be hard for me to really have conversations with people about things like this, because they get mad at me and try to say, "Oh, you're being biased," but
This is bias. So
I'm not being biased if I'm saying, you know what, a lot of, no, I didn't say a lot, but some police officers may done some things, done the wrong procedures on people.
guess what? I remember when I first came to the Black Manosphere, right? People used to ask, "What do you think
But it's not all. It's not all of it.
the percentage is of corruption with police?" And I told them anywhere from 2 to 3%. And they were like, "You think it's that small?" Yes, especially in our
Yeah.
community, because we don't believe in guns like that. We
And
just
then and then she tried to say, "Oh, when I brought up the slave thing, she tried to say, "Oh, well, that's still happening now." I
I want
said,
I
I
want you to
said,
agree
I
with name.
said maybe in some cases, but it's so small, yo, and it's so small to the point where it's not even a big problem like how it was back then.
See, I want you to read the comment Namer had that I just highlighted. Read it out loud.
I can't say it, man. I
It
think
says,
it took me to like a dude, like another little, what you call it.
it says women. No, you can see it up here. Like if you could look at the screen, you can see it. It says women argue for distance and irritation. How long can I push this motherfucker before he snaps? And which
Mm,
is
mm.
because first and foremost, if she was as smart as she thought she was, if you said that everything's corrupt, how many guys were good fathers? The mothers keep away from them,
Facts.
so they don't call that corrupt.
Facts.
You're saying you didn't pay me child support, so you can't see your kids. That's corruption. That's extortion. That's ultimate corruption.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And
But no, anytime you argue a fact with a woman about something that benefits them, they don't see it as corruption.
hold on, I'm still in here. I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
All right, let's put the phone on the bed or something.
All right.
All right, but folks, I'm gonna just tell you a lot of a lot of things when we talk about the system and corruption. A lot of people don't want to talk about what's really corrupt. All right, we don't want to talk about a lot of the shit that actually goes on. We don't want to talk about how there's good men out there, many of off police officers, might add you, who are getting false claims of domestic violence just so they can't see their kids. But then when they get a good lawyer and unveil the truth and they find out the chick lied, what happens then? How many men work themselves to the bone and don't get to see their kids till they're 18? How many of them get penalized? How many of them are getting reprieved? I've never said there's no such thing as corruption in the police department or in the fucking United States government. But I'm going to ask this one question. How many motherfuckers have benefited over the corruption that seeps their way? I'm just saying. Too many people are under that pick a struggle doctrine. I told you that before. Told you that. Motherfuckers don't like to listen, man. Too many people don't want to pick a struggle. Is there racism in the world? Yes. There's always going to be. But are we doing a lot better than our grandparents were? You fucking believe it. Do we still got to combat it? Of course. But see, here's the fact of the matter. How many women are saying, well, these men should be fathers. They should have custody or equal custody of their kids. The kids should be there with them in their residence half the time with the other parent. How many women are saying that? You got a lot of motherfuckers who were doing wrong shit who hate the police. Their favorite uncle who was the biggest drug dealer on the east side of the city. Their favorite female cousin who was prostituting all the time or pimping out other chicks. And they seen it live and living color. But they hate the police, but they don't hate the actions of evil that happens within their vicinity. Pick a struggle. I tell any man that. Pick a struggle. If you're going to talk about one set of corruption, be willing to talk about all corruption. All right? No, not a lot of people are going to do that. We're not going to talk about child support corruption because guess who that benefits the most? Child custody corruption. We're not going to talk about housing corruption. We're not going to talk about all this fucking corruption in its totality. We just want to pick and choose. Because in the year 2023, it's all about who can become the biggest fucking victim. Nobody gave a fuck 2 years ago when we had the best shot of reparations. Did we pick about how corrupt the system was, or did we bicker amongst ourselves? I think most people mindset is reactionary and thinking about the real factors that make corruption. Facts. Notice I didn't even ask for any donations or anything like that because these are my thoughts. If people donate, they do it on their own. You're not going to be one of the motherfuckers who want to talk about corruption, then think that corruption is something that is only in one realm and one realm only. If I got an advantage in a sport where I'm bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, and more intelligent, is it corrupt that I use my abilities that God gave me and also train in the sport to beat you? No. But at the same time, how many women would give up their fucking their fucking advantage when it comes to jobs, college, education, housing, child custody, child support? to make the world fair. And for those who are the naysayers who are here live and will hear the feedback, the reback, guess what? I want you to say that to the next time your girl gets with a good guy and she's plotting to destroy him just because she wants a quick dollar. Is it corrupt that you rather have babies than be wives? Hello. Motherfuckers don't want to talk that real shit now. Motherfuckers don't want to talk that real shit. If you come to a guy like me, you better come correct. That's no different than when women go around saying my baby father ain't shit. And I just ask, what are you, a toilet? You decided to have that baby. You have 33 different ways of preventing pregnancy. And you decided. You decided. Like I was saying, I don't know if you heard me. You got to unmute yourself. Hit the microphone.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
It's no different than how many chicks try to say, oh, my baby father ain't shit. Why did you have a baby by dude?
Why? So that's what I was saying, yo. That's what I was saying, Coach. It's not the same way it is. That's what I was trying to explain to her. It's not the same way it was back then. Now we are the ones, not us per se, but we are the ones that cause our own destruction. We are the ones that enslave ourselves. So to say that they're just the big bad wolf is crazy. Coach, he left. Oh man, I don't understand how this works. I don't know if he's everyone can see and hear you. But he left. Is what happened?
I'm back.
All right. But you see what I'm saying though? Like, she's very she's more so biased than anything with it. Because like I said, I even agreed with her when she was saying there's some police officers out there that does some messed up things. But it's not that many though. Like it's very little.
The longer you live in life, the more you see messed up people in every facet of life.
Yeah, literally. That's why it's really hard to have conversations like that with certain people, man, because it gets real. A lot of people getting their feelings about it instead of really thinking about it from a logical standpoint. It's really hard, and I try to like get people to understand
yourself.
I really do try. But she doesn't even understand. She said that she don't get into the politic thing, and she don't get into the laws. She don't get into the laws and all that. So how could you make laws without
politics? That's impossible.
How could you even fathom a statement like that?
Because she's not that bright.
Because she's using her feelings. And I had to realize that as we was going on. So I tried to, you know, hit her from a vibey type feeling type standpoint too. But she didn't like that either.
It's called facts over feelings.
You know what I'm saying? But I was throwing facts in there too. And she didn't like that. So I'm like, at this point now, you're just complying to the norm and that everybody is putting out there. So yeah, man, it's hard talking to some people about stuff like this. Because they really don't know. They don't understand.
It's not that they don't understand, it's that the fact that they don't care. I don't care. I'm right. I don't care.
And then they get insulting. Then that's when they get insulting. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. You're telling me that I don't know about this.
Well,
But you're
welcome
also agreeing with me. But then when it comes to a point where it's like, all right, well, you gotta blame yourself for certain things too. That's when it comes to a point where like, oh no, I can't do that. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They don't know how to look at themselves and look at, you know, the norm and look at the actual logical standpoint of things.
Why do you think it's so hard for women to actually take accountability? Because being accountable means you got to look at what you did.
Right.
You got to look at what everybody played a role. And until you're ready to take that hard journey and say, you know what, I could have done this better, I could have said that a little better, they're not going to do it.
And even some of my homeboys, you know, went to jail and did all the things they did. So it's not like I don't have no personal experience. I mean, I never got locked up or nothing like that, or got encounters with the law or nothing like that. But some of my close friends did, and yeah, they didn't like it. But in all actuality, they put themselves in that situation. So, yeah, man, it's we create, like I said, not per se, not us per se, but we create our own destruction.
A lot of people are accomplices to their own destruction, and they don't want to admit it. Oh, well, you know, I'm a victim. Okay, what makes you a victim? Because, okay.
And they think we're being smart when we say that, yo. But really, it's like, let's get to the bottom of this. Like, we're not just gonna take, oh, you're just a victim. You know what? You're a victim. That's it, and that's all. No, we're not gonna do it like that. We're not gonna tell. You're not gonna tell half of the story, and then that's just what it is. No, how did you become a victim? What place and time was it? What was the approximate time that this started to boil down and everything? No, we want to get to the bottom of it so we can really understand this.
A lot of them can't get to the bottom of it for a real good reason.
Yeah, and it's scary, yo, because there's a lot of people that's just, you know, complying to this norm, and it's messing up.
It's messing up growth.
Yeah, growth.
Remember when I told you a lot of these females out here are making choices on their own that affects them. And then people be like, you so hard on the females. Because if you and I rob a bank, we're going to be the ones to go to jail. But if she messes up her womb, she'll make 3 to 4 generations be in perpetual poverty.
we don't have a lot of male homeless shelters. We don't have a lot of male.
I mean, think
We don't
about it.
have male. What is it called?
Male assistants. Period. Think about it. You
Yeah,
saw
like
how hard it
we
was.
have a lot of that.
You saw how hard it was for me to get a lot of shit done. But yet, if I was a female who had kids by different fathers, oh, it's okay. Everything's gonna be all right.
You remember the video that I sent you with when the dude was in court and he found out that the kid wasn't his and he was crying. I mean,
Yeah,
he wasn't
nobody.
like he wasn't boohoo crying, but he was in bull tears.
He was hurt.
He was hurt. He wasn't everywhere. He wasn't sloppy with it. But as soon as she started yelling and crying and breaking down, everybody gravitated towards her. Nobody. After they was done with her, the lady walked past the man, looked him in his face, seeing how hurt he was, and walked past him.
Because men, especially in the black community, black men have no rights that a black woman or any woman has to adhere to.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck. You could be the best guy in her life. As soon as you do something she doesn't like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. I can do whatever I want. Okay, fail. Why don't you help me? A real man. You ever notice how they'll tell you what a real man to do, but as soon as you tell them what a real woman to do, they get offended.
All right.
It's called pick a struggle.
Pick a struggle, right?
It's called, wait a minute, you wanted to date drug dealers. Why did you have babies by niggas who sold drugs? Well, no.
I wasn't judging him off of how he lived and
But you call a nigga broke if he doesn't have money.
right.
It's like I told a lot of those chicks. If a dude took you out on a date, and this happened to Denzel Washington and his wife for the last 30, 40 years, took her out on her first date, paid for the date, he ran out of money, so she paid for the cab for them to go home. How many chicks would have called that nigga broke? But they said men would have used the chick like her. I'm like, what? What? The more this shit makes sense, the less it does.
Yeah.
The more y'all will call a nigga broke, but yet y'all deal with criminals. Y'all deal with niggas who ain't gonna be shit no facet of their life, and you'll never call them out on that shit.
The more you open your eyes up to it, the more it kind of it hurts a little bit. Like it gets frustrating. Like, dang, like this is really what's going on. Like this is how things are. And as men, we don't have that that past to show too much. Have a judgment clouded by emotions with things, because we're going to be judged off of.
We're going to be judged. See, this is how it works for me.
Can you still hear me?
This is how men are judged. Men are, especially black men.
You get what I was saying, though?
No, I didn't hear you because you scratched up.
Oh, man.
Repeat what you just said.
I was saying for real that as men, we really don't have that we don't have that past to let our emotions cloud our judgment, because we're judged off of what we do.
Yeah,
and even then we still get talked down upon, and we still get bashed. So for women to act the way they do is crazy.
Because women Women are never made to be accountable for that.
Yeah.
It's called fuck you. I'm right. You're wrong. I don't care if you got facts. Fuck your facts. I'm like, okay. Why should I give a fuck about? But now men are telling women, why should I give a fuck about you? And they hate that. Like, oh, he's not a good man because he doesn't listen to me. Why should he? Why should he?
Why? Right.
Because if he listens to you, he's fucked. Okay? He is fucked. And I'm not even talking about in a good way. He is fucked. And what you see from a lot of these broads, it's okay for them to go be out there, sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's okay because she thinks some simp is going to take care of her ass.
Yeah.
But when niggas stand up on their own 2 feet and say no, there's a problem. Oh, you just judging me off my past. Don't you?
Literally.
I should judge you from your past.
Absolutely.
Like, you're going to judge me from mine. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That is so fucked up. You going to judge me? Yes, I should. So you telling me that any chick who sleeps with 100 men shouldn't be treated the same way as a man? It takes skill to get women. All you got to do is be clean and have an open pussy, and you'll get a dick in it anytime you want.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Well, that's so fucked up. That's the world. It's fucked up.
that's the world. You just gotta be smart enough to either work around it or work through it.
Even Earth, Wind, and Fire said it best. That's the way of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, you telling me that? You know how they get all out of breath when they get shit don't go. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, seriously, let's talk about this, shorty. If men had to do the same shit you did, you would call us weak. Especially if we have to take advantage of the system. When y'all take advantage of the system, a lot of men don't even talk down upon you.
No.
Now, y'all judge us. No. Y'all judge each other harder than we judge you. Y'all call each other sluts and whores before men will call you. Hell, men like whores and sluts.
Absolutely.
We ain't trying to marry you, but we love you.
we try to be with y'all on a
Real shit, but
real type level, but we'll have a little fun.
We'll have fun with you, man. That shit, that's all good. But this is the first thing you hear from these broads who are silly. They try to guilt you into believing their bullshit. And I'm like, come on, shorty. You know goddamn well that if you have a baby by a nigga who ain't working, a nigga selling drugs, and in and out of jail, he's not going to be Father of the Year material. Why don't you take the L that you're supposed to hold from being not a smart enough broad to get a nigga who got something in his life going for himself and just call it what it is? Wow, that's judging. Guess what?
You judge us?
Yeah, you judge the fuck out of us. But guess what? When you try to go for a certain job and you have a felony, you were judged by your past. When you don't have the right education or the right certification or training trying to get a job, you're going to be judged by your past of what you did and didn't do. Men are okay with that. Women aren't, because they know that as soon as they open up their mouth and they hear, oh, she's a bird, everybody could hit. What did you put in his life to think you can? It's like saying you have sexy clothes, but you mad that a nigga approach you a certain way. You can't get mad at that. If you go around a bunch of dudes talking about how good you fuck and how good you suck a dick, you're the ones who's gonna get mad on how that nigga approach you.
Right. And how they treat you accordingly.
You're the one who talked about you could suck the 10 man out of a keyhole.
Right.
Oh, he treated me like I'm some whore. He doesn't have no respect for me. There's an old saying they had: be careful on what you allow because you're teaching people how to respect you.
Mm.
Sorry. 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 What's wrong with that? What's wrong with this? Y'all should treat women with more respect when you start respecting yourselves.
When you start respecting yourselves.
That's so fucked up. That's how y'all look at women? No, I'm gonna tell you, the first person who told me bitches ain't shit was my mother. First motherfucker to tell me bitches wasn't shit. You really think we ain't shit? Tell me where. I said, okay. Tell me when you add value to a man's life.
Mm.
Just tell me. Where do
I
you
ain't,
add
I ain't
value?
ready for that one.
Where do you add value to a man's life? Y'all want Denzel Washington, but you don't want to pay the cab fare while he's still growing. Y'all want Denzel Washington, but you don't want to be the supportive wife when he's got to go and try out. Not even get the role, but to try out for the fucking role. Do you know how many sleepless goddamn nights his wife probably had to have while he's out on location? She had to deal with the kids. A lot of women don't want the hard times. They don't want the development. They want the finished product.
Facts. Facts.
But you're wrong for mentioning that shit.
You judged by the death penalty. If you get it wrong, you getting death penalty.
Hold on for a sec.
Hey, how's it going, Charles? Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Charles? Man, thanks for having me up.
No, I think I think he's about to come back. I don't know how this really works.
Hey, what's up, Gemini?
Hey.
Can you hear me? Hey, what's up, Kev?
Yeah. All right, perfect. Yeah, man. I saw you on live, man. I just had to hop on right quick. So, yeah, man. That whole this whole Just Pearly things, man, is really getting on my nerve because I'm with guys that could keep it 100. I'm like, who the hell is Just Pearly things, and who the hell said she was the leader of this space? I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about?
See, a lot of that bullshit came by a lot of people because black men, let's face it, black men just like a lady who treats them better. They don't want to actually be the head of the household. They want a woman to treat them better. And it's funny because when you don't have confidence in yourself and try to build yourself up, you're gonna fall for that bullshit about just pearly things. You think just pearly? Yes, just because she takes black dick, it does not mean she does not think about being a white woman, and she knows the advantages of being a white woman. She knows. Shout
J.
out to
Cole.
Drink Thing. He
Yeah.
said, "Bitch ain't want to mess with you when you putting in 12 hours like a mug and hitting the gym, but when you riding clean, all these hoes." It's facts.
Like J. Cole said, she knows.
Yeah, they know. See, the whole thing about the manosphere, it shows you how purple pill it really is. When you really become red pill and you know what the system is about, it's a motherfucker because
Yeah. Yeah.
you got to deal with women who don't really have the best intentions for men. If you it's like the old saying, what have you done for me lately? You can never have a bad day as a black man. You can never have a bad day.
Yeah. I was about to say, I know, again, going back to what Kiva Hundred said, a lot of spaces about advocacy, which I can agree with him on this. It's like, I think the reason why, again, why the space is so controversial is because, once again, man, it's like all the misandrous BS that we've been having to deal with for decades and centuries is now being infected into all of Western society, and they don't have an answer to it. So they kind of tap dance around it, and you try to lie to the public. So we're like one of the only people that's at least somewhat willing to tell the truth
Mm-hmm.
and be unashamed about it. So I mean, pretty much, yeah. Going back to what you said, Charles, it's like pretty much we're in a lose situation. If you date within the culture, you're gonna get disrespected. If you date outside the culture, you're gonna get disrespected. If you do nothing, you're gonna be disrespected. So it's pretty much like a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation. So basically, the only appropriate response is to say, fuck this." So
Fuck this shit, I'm out. And I mean, you got to look at it. A black man's not allowed to have his own manifest destiny. If you ain't doing something for the benefit of a bitch, nobody gives a fuck. And people be like, why do you got to call them bitches? Because guess what? They're proud to have a resting bitch face.
yeah,
They
yeah,
proud to look like a bunch of curmudgeonous evil bitches. They're proud of the fact. If
Yeah,
you
literally. Today, when I was on duty, I asked this girl. I was like, where you smile at? And she mugged me and was like, boy, I'm not smiling. I'm not smiling. And she did it in in a snarky type way, and I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Y'all just
and and I hate how like a lot of us use this whole like survivalism argument to like explain away a lot of this dysfunction. When they say, "Oh, these women are just doing this as a survival response," or "Oh, us as so-called black people, we're just trying to survive." I'm like, none of this shit is conducive to survivalism.
no,
Like if you look at how a lot of the community structure, if we were just suddenly forced into a natural environment where we had to live without modern conveniences, like a lot of us would die.
exactly. I'm
You
going to
know?
tell you why it's not conducive. Because if it was really a survival method, okay, a lot of these stop bitches be throwing pussy like fucking Elway throws a football. A lot of these fucking college students who are in engineering, pre-med, pre-law, and they would get them so pussy whipped because they know these niggas are gonna take care of them. But it's not a survival method if you're having babies that cause poverty. It's called
Exactly.
it's called you do what the fuck you want to do and think nobody's going to check you. But
Yeah.
one thing about life that is very, very true, life will check you and show you what you really truly deserve. Oh, I don't think it's right for a man to tell a woman what to do, but you believe a man should come out of his pocket and have no say of why he should come out of his pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, pretty much, they have like they have like the Bane mentality. It's like, oh, and this gives you power over me,
Yeah,
just
yeah. And this is the crazy part. Like when I said men used to feel guilty, men don't feel guilty anymore. I said, you got to think about it. I had to correct my female friend when she said I don't see any growth from you. I'm like, you don't see a new career, a new position, a new house. I'm in Colorado training for new skills. I'm a sergeant. I'm probably going to make lieutenant once I leave this bitch. And you're going to tell me you don't see growth. I said, either you're blind or you don't want to see. Which one is it?
Facts.
Because obviously when you were engaged to be married, You were with a bum ass nigga. Your words, not mine. But why would you be engaged to a bum ass nigga when you got a fucking world champion in front of you? And I purposely say that to so many broads in our community. You are bad picker. You're horrific pickers of men. Your win loss ratio of picking men by yourself is so horrific that you should not be allowed to cross the street by yourselves. That's how much of a danger you
Right.
Like,
Right.
look,
are. He just
I will. Yeah,
he just
yeah, yeah,
kicked
yeah,
out
and
women.
yep, and you make a good point, Charles. And I think part of what adds to the dysfunction, I think, is the coddling. Like we keep insisting on holding on to this narrative that women somehow lack self agency and like can't think for themselves, and so because of that, any negative effects they might have when it comes to the decision makings is just amplified by that coddling. Like we literally feel more sympathy for an abusive single mom who like kills her kids than like a normal chick who like checks the behavior of other women or just simply has like a mild disagreement with somebody else politically. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go. You don't mind if I go deeper on your statement, do you?
Oh no, by all means. Hey man, it's your show.
We feel more sympathy for a single mom who kills her kids than a single dad who's $100 down on paying the rent.
Facts.
Yep.
I
We
felt.
would rather feel sympathy. Well, she was by herself in stress than to give that brother $100 so him and his kids could have a place to stay. Yo, you a man. You should work for it. I did. I had to pay for food, and I'm $100 short. And I mean, and the sad thing about it, how many brothers look down upon brothers in that same exact situation? How many?
A lot.
And then here's the fucked up part, right? We'll judge him, but we scared shitless of that broad. Scared shitless.
Yeah, and I think the reason why we think like this, Charles, is not so much because it's like a natural way of thinking, because it's not natural to show blind deference to women in that way. Because, like you said, it's not conducive to survival. It's normal to be somewhat concerned, but just blind deference, no, it's not natural. But I think the reason why we secretly hold on to it is because it gives us a false sense of moral supremacy. You
Yeah.
know, it like we feel like we're being more enlightened, or that we're somehow more heroic. In reality, we're just basically engaging what's called enabling behavior. So I think that's the reason why we cling to that mindset like flies on shit.
Yeah. It's trying to be. It's like I told the Padawan. When you're in the law enforcement business and the military business, yeah, there's times you got to be the Superman. But don't be a sucker for Lois Lane. When Clark started telling Lois, look, there's going to be a time I'm not going to be able to save you. You need to stop putting yourself in danger. Well, and when it happened, she got shot. And Clark said, what did I tell you? And see, it goes back to what women say. They want men to be the lead. No, you don't. Because if you actually want men to lead, guess what you would have done? You would have shut the fuck up and listened to them.
And listen to him. Let him live.
What's the point of being a leader if you're not going to listen to the leader? But
Yeah.
yet, you're not even being a good subordinate. Why?
Mm-hmm.
All you
Yeah.
got to do, play your role. You see what happened when she
Hold on.
paid for the cab, and when she paid for when Denzel Washington's wife paid for the cab. You know what she did? She endeared herself to Denzel and said, "You know what? I could grow and build with this woman." Now they got $300 million.
Hold on, fellas. I'll be right back.
All right. Cool.
$300 million, and you telling me all you had to do was play your role?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was kind of frustrated, man, when I was on Chaos Rain channel. And shout out to Chaos Rain. We be having like a back and forth with guys like Amiri Brown. I'm like, you talk about this patriarchy stuff. Like, I just gotta ask you two simple questions. It's like, number one, when has the so-called black community been quote unquote patriarchal as far as post-colonial? Number one, and then number two, if it has been quote unquote patriarchal, has it resulted in a net increase or net decrease in quality of life?
And let me put it to you this way: when's the last time the white community was patriarchal?
That's even bigger. That's even a better question. That's the reason why I'm not. That's the reason why, like, I'm just like, I just kind of I just kind of sigh when I hear guys like Nick Fuentes, you know what I mean? Like, talk about
That's
his
why.
like racist
That's why.
tirades.
Like when BGS said about that Nick Fuentes, whatever the fuck he is, he's so dumb. He's not smart enough to be stupid. Okay, he's
Yeah.
giving game away from how these racist dumbass people think, and
hmm
he's not even smart enough to even say, you know, I need to shut the fuck up because I'm giving too much game away. You know what's gonna happen? You let them do it. You let them do it.
Yep.
And quite frankly, I think that what we need to do is stop interrupting idiots while they make mistakes.
Yep. Yeah.
We need to stop that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Because when he talks about this whole narrative about how, oh, you know, when guys like him talk about, oh, you know, we need when guys like him and guys like Richard Spencer talk about how, oh, we need more white privilege and white privilege this and white privilege that. I'm like, how do you think we got to the fucked up situation that we're in right now? You know, and then number one, it's like, um, if you're so-called quote unquote superior, why the fuck are you bitching and whining about what so-called black men are doing? Why don't you go to your so-called superior white brethren and ask them why the hell you know are they not checking these broads? You know,
because
but
there's
then
shitless of them, like a motherfucker.
oh
Don't let
yeah,
don't
oh
let
yeah,
them don't let them fool you.
oh
Don't,
yeah.
don't
Oh
let
yeah, absolutely, and I also think that's the reason why again why guys like Austin Hollerman and other guys in the so-called passport bros got attacked while they try to make all these false accusations of sex trafficking against black men who date internationally is because again, you didn't kiss the ring of the white gynocracy, you know. See, he was supposed to follow the script of the where the white women at and go to Western Europe. He wasn't supposed to call his own shots and say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go to like Latin America or Southeast Asia or like Africa or whatnot." You know what I mean?
and see, here's the hypocrisy of it all because they're upset on how they getting treated now. When white supremacy fell and it's still falling, and you're being treated equal to black men, you don't like it because now you can't use the superiority, you know, caption anymore. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
See,
what happened? Why do I got to fight so hard? We all do. Oh, you just realizing this shit, huh, nigga?
exactly. Like, like when I see these videos on CNN when Scott Galloway talking about the plight of young men, I'm like, I'm like, niggas have had to deal with this shit for decades, if not centuries, and y'all just upset because it's just now happening to y'all. You know, the reason why stuff like the Kerner Commission and what's the name of that study? You guys always say I forgot. It literally was like right there on the tip of my
The
tongue.
Monahan report.
Yeah, exactly. The Moynihan Report. That's basically what they were trying to warn about. I'm like, especially even books like Dark Elders. I'm like, hey, listen, if y'all don't do some stuff to address the plight of these brothers, this problem is going to spread all throughout society. You know what I mean? Over like the next 50, 60 years. Like it's not going to stay here. It's going to fester. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we don't live in a vacuum. So
And then it's funny because if they would have gave black men their just due, they would have done that. Well, whites, America would have ruled for thousands of years if they would have gave black men their just due.
yeah,
And what
that
happened?
or that it either would have done that or it would have been replaced with a more fair and just system. One of the two.
You would have
So
gave reparations and gave equal education and housing to black men who earned it, guess what? We would have made, if you would have made the overwhelming majority of black men middle class, you would have benefited so much from it. You would have
Yeah.
had a tax base. You
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have had so much crime. You would have
Yep.
had more intact families, which means you would have had more babies being pumped out. You wouldn't.
Exactly.
You would have had
Yep.
a population that's sustainable. You would have had more babies and people because 85% of your inventions are still made from the black hands that we still
Mm-hmm.
use today. Why didn't you take it? You know why? Because your hubris and your arrogance got the better of you.
Yep. Exactly. And that was the reason why that was the message behind Frederick Douglass' speech called "What the Black Man Wants" back in 1865. And even the reason why Ulysses S. Grant was willing to go to war against the KKK, to guarantee quote unquote black voting rights, because it's like, hey, listen, if we don't treat these people fairly, you know, basically, especially with Frederick Douglass' argument, it's like, you know, um, the best thing you could do for so-called black people is nothing at all. Like, don't try to interfere, don't try to hinder us, don't try to call yourself trying to help and coddle us. No, just let us get it on our own, because if you try to interfere, you're going to create a legacy of dishonor. And
Yeah.
obviously, that legacy of dishonor has been used to undermine the social fabric of this society.
Yeah. And look what's happening to white America. Now, white America is becoming his own nigga. You're losing ground to people you imported.
Yep.
They're outbreeding you. And
Yep.
see, now, instead of saying, you know what, we fucked up, should have gave them reparations, should have gave them housing, should have gave them fair education. No, I can't do it. I just can't see myself equal to the Negro. I don't want to do it. I shouldn't have to do it. Well, we should have more white privilege. No. You know what that means? It means you weren't a fighter like you claimed you were in the first place. See, everybody wants equality until you treat them like a nigga.
Exactly. And
Everybody wants that equality bug.
mhm. Yep. And that's also, I think, the reason why, like, a lot of these chicks, that's the reason why I think, why, like, a lot of these chicks, when you talk about Charles, why a lot of them go after guys that are, like, in the streets and stuff like that. I'm like, the reason why you see these chicks worshiping guys that are drug dealers and whatnot and gang members, the reason why you see them do that is because they haven't experienced the gang violence themselves.
Yeah,
Like, they're not the ones getting shot at. They're not the ones getting stomped out, curb stomped on the ground. They're not the ones getting beaten and stabbed. So they think it's cute. They think it's a game. But trust me, if them bullets and fists and Timberland boots was aimed at them, oh yeah, they'd be talking about, oh, please protect me. I'm just a woman. Please.
Yeah.
They're gonna be doing the "I'm Every Woman" song.
Like, we just some women up in here. We just don't even know how to do things for ourselves. What's up, Mac Bones?
That sort of reminded of a conversation I had with a fellow employee of mine, a female employee of mine, and I explained to her why feminism doesn't work for black women. And I explained to her the history of the waves of feminism. Like, I told her, how can you understand the fourth wave of feminism when you don't understand the basis and foundation of the first wave? And I told her about the history of Susan B. Anthony, because when she created feminism was not meant for black women. They didn't have black women in mind. Like Susan B. Anthony said, when black women tried to join the first wave of the feminism movement in the early 1900s, Susan B. Anthony said, get these Negroes out of here. And that's the thing. You can't have feminism without white supremacy, because feminism is the female counterpart of white supremacy. It's about white females, white women getting their piece. And there's a book that's called They Were Owned by Her. And it talks about white women slave masters in the South. some of the people that own plantations and own slaves were white women. And then, like, when you look at the cycle of what's going on, to where it's getting bad for white Americans in this country, people got to remember the accurate portrayal of history, that the first people enslaved in this country were Irish, Italians, Sicilians, and Slavs people, because the word slave comes from Slavic
Yep.
people.
Yep,
And
exactly. Yeah.
see, this was before 1619, because during the times of piracy on the high seas, I mean, when people got convicted of piracy in Europe, they had two choices: either the punishment of death or slavery. And the plantations where they enslaved the pirate convicts was on the slave plantations in the Caribbean. The TV show on Stars, Black Sails, talks about that, where Captain Flint's male lover, he was able to find them on a plantation in Jamaica.
Yep.
It was either you were being sent to the plantation or you were sent to
Yeah.
Australia.
And see, the thing about it, there wasn't really a massive enslavement of blacks until 1619. But before then,
Well, really,
yeah,
it was after Bacon's Rebellion in 1677. Well,
right,
technically, if you really want to stretch it, it was really after the Yamasee War of 1712. That's where you really start see like a large enslavement of so-called blacks. But yeah, like even the
I
word
mean,
kid.
because the thing is,
Yep.
1619 was the time when they was transporting black slaves from South America and the West Indies into the Americas. Because that's the thing about it. South America and the West Indies was the processing center. And that's the thing that I explained to some people on Facebook, that the same plantation that created the nigger also created the bitch.
Yeah, you got to remember that.
And see,
Bitch attitude, if you didn't have a person respecting their man, what
right,
do we call a disrespectful woman? A bitch.
That's right.
What's the most hard-headed? What's the most hard-headed of all dogs? The bitch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I'm thinking about taking like a strategy from that movie, Deep Cover, that came out in 1992, where it was asking them what's the difference between a black man and a nigger. And I'm thinking about asking some black women what's the difference between a black woman and a bitch. just to mess with their mind a bit, like they mess with ours. Because, and I explain, man, the reason why women want to be about being feminists is because they're not comfortable with being a female, a woman. That's why.
They're not
comfortable with it in their own true femininity.
They're not comfortable being under the protection of a man. They're not comfortable because what did their mother always did? Not to rely on a man. Not to rely on a man. But you want to be married, why get relied on a man?
And see, that's the thing about some of these dysfunctional black women. They sabotage their daughters by training them to be, independent, so-called strong and masculine, while they train their sons to be dependent on women and effeminate, putting women on a pedestal. But according to the traditional family, you training males and females, the males to be comfortable in authentic masculinity, and training the females to be comfortable in true femininity.
No, that's scary because that means you got to give your trust into a man, which is anti-black. Okay, let's just say it. It's anti-black to trust men. Men are the enemy. If men are so much the enemy, why are you so worried if a man works or not?
Well, the thing about it, men are the enemy until the women really need the men, when things go to shit. You know what I'm saying? When things become apocalyptic or dystopian.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. That's why I explain, like when I've been on my security guard jobs, got these so-called independent women thinking they're, strong, independent women. But when they go to work, they ask me to walk them to their car.
Yeah, exactly. Pick a struggle. And it's always, I say, It's the saying that I said, I ain't shit till you need me. I am not
And
shit till you need me.
right. I mean, like, like I say to some of these women, I'm not shit until you really need me, until you have nowhere else to go to.
And that's what fundamentally is a big issue for the black community. If we ain't shit till you need us, then what the fuck you dealing with us for? That's the biggest question. What are you
Yep.
dealing with us for?
It's like hearing somebody claim that you're going to build a great football team. It's like hearing somebody say they're going to build a great football team, but they're only going to focus on quarterbacks, wide receivers, and special teams.
You
And
need a
it's like,
team,
and
bitch.
just ignore everything else.
Exactly. I'm going to give you a good example of my wrestling career. Even in my first year, I will be considered a takedown artist. There was no person I couldn't take down, from heavyweights up to my weight class. You know, and I was at 160 when I first wrestled. But you know what really had me lacking? I didn't have the best defense. So it was my divine obsession to be so in tune to defense that I just practiced defense, and my switch, my sit out, my rollout was so feared that people knew it was coming but couldn't do a damn thing against it. That's
Yeah.
that's what's called being accountable, is when you know what the weaknesses are but you don't do a damn thing to fix it.
That's the thing I enjoyed about growing up in high school. Some of the teachers that teach math and biology and chemistry and English were also the track and field coaches for the boys, also the basketball coach and the football coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I liked about it. Where you not only training the maturity in males to be men physically, but also training them to be men mentally and emotionally when they had those classes. That's because some of them that were coaches also taught home ec and all that. Also taught home ec.
Man, listen, I haven't had a home ec class since like middle school. They took
Yeah,
that off after middle school, man. It's a damn shame.
that was the first class they took out, and then they took out music classes as well.
Yeah, they wanted you to be. So think about it. Like I've said it before earlier. What good is being what good is being a woman who can't cook or clean? It's just as
Useless,
much as a man who can't protect.
right?
Oh,
Liabilities.
oh, but that's so sexist. Why do we gotta clean? Why do we gotta provide? Nigga.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, women who are comfortable in their femininity are not really adverse to cooking and cleaning.
Yeah.
Just like men who are comfortable in their masculinity are not averse to being providers and protectors.
Yeah.
But in order for a man to be a provider and protector, they gotta be able to take the lead in the household.
Just like I was telling Mr. Z, um, and even the Ezra Nazarene points this out on his channel as well. Basically, a lot of these women think that men paying most of, if not all, the bills is problematic. But here's the thing: most dudes, especially most brothers like you and I, if we are paying the bills, hypothetically speaking, if we're with the woman, we're paying the bills. We don't try to hold that against them. We just see that as just the cost of being in a relationship.
Right.
Where if the thing is flipped, it's used as leverage against us. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, look at how much I did for you. Whereas if we do it for them, it's just like, oh, I'm just handling my responsibilities. That's all.
Like Chantel Simone, shout out to her. She explained to the American black women, you cannot be expected to be treated like a wife when you're acting like a 304. How can you have these traditional benefits when you're not even willing to live according to traditional responsibilities as being a traditional woman?
Yeah, I think the whole controversy behind that is this. Okay, especially in this society with a lot of tradcons and feminists. Here's what it is: they don't mind these women being 304s. What they have a problem with is men letting these women be 304s, as in, like what Charles said, not marrying them, not taking them, entertaining them seriously, or entertaining long-term relationships with them, not getting them pregnant, etc. That's what they have a problem with. It's the reason why we've been obsessed with sexual liberation for the last 60 years, but we're adamantly against legalized prostitution. It's not because we just care so much about protecting these helpless women. It's like, no, it's because we want to blame the men. We want to essentially blame these women being 304s on what the man did or didn't do to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about feminism, man. It was a rich white corporate wealthy guy known as Rockefeller that pushed the feminism movement, the first wave in the first place, because Susan B. Anthony's main supporter was John D. Rockefeller the first of the Rockefeller family.
Yep.
And then the place where I come from, Arkansas, that state is run by the Rockefeller family as well. There's a elementary school known as John D. Rockefeller Elementary School in East End of Arkansas, where I'm from. So I'm up there looking around, man, and then I realized that President Clinton's assistant lieutenant governor was a Rockefeller too. Winthrop Rockefeller the third or the fourth, I think. So it's like, and I think back in the day there was an Arkansas governor known as Rockefeller too. It's just that our people don't know how to connect the dots, man. Find out what's really going on. They don't want to do their due diligence in solving problems, because like they talk about the reparations thing. You got to do your due diligence, man, and not only like your money thing, but also in your law and civics things as well, and your ancestral thing. And a lot of our people got to be careful about it, because some of them could be descended from Negro slave masters during slavery as well.
Yeah, I was
and
about
the
to say,
reason
yeah,
why
like,
the reason why they passed that law in 1818 Louisiana, because they didn't like the fact before then there were some Negro slave masters owning white folks in the South.
Yeah, I was about to say,
They didn't like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, like if you ever hear these stories, you know how these people say, oh, they were like, these American Indian tribes that owned slaves. I'm like, yeah, that's what they refer to, like those Negroes that own slaves, like those free persons of color that own slaves. I think the actress Kiki Palmer is descended from one of those families. So
yes, that's why she became a major star power as she is, because she's bloodline. And that's the thing about it, man. According to true history, while there were like Africans building up pyramids in Kemet, there were also Negroes, melanated Native Americans building pyramids in South America and Mexico and all that.
Yeah, I think they said it's like 20,000 some pyramids in like the Mesoamerican area, and then some that a lot of people don't realize is that most of the so-called Negro slaves in these southern plantations, they were actually taken from various tribes from like the East Woodlands, the Caribbean islands, Mesoamerica,
Yes.
etc. Like that actually made up the bulk. Even if you listen to the official slavery narrative, they even tell it right there to your face that only, according to their estimates, only 305,000 people from like West Africa ever ended up here in North America.
Because they lost a lot of cargo overseas, because a lot of them were up there tossing themselves off the ships to the sharks. A lot of them died from like a disease made by improper sanitation conditions on the ship.
I think some of them for some of them that was the case, but in general, the reason why it wasn't that many is simply because African slaves were expensive. I think around 1700, between somewhere around 1700, like the cost of an African slave was like 50 pounds sterling, which is about, was it 14,000?
Yeah,
$14,000 today.
$14,000 a day. That's correct.
Yep, and then whereas like an Irish slave was like only 5 pounds sterling. So
And
that's
the
the
Native
reason why.
American slave was 10 pounds sterling.
You said what?
Native American slave was like about
10 pounds
5 to
sterling.
10
Yep.
pounds sterling as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was
So
less.
exactly. Yeah. So that's the reason why you didn't really see a lot of heavy African imports here in this part of North America. Now, again, for some people that is the case. I know for Brother Panic, some of his family comes from some of those African slaves. The occultist Brother Panic, but for like
Yes.
most of our families, trace back to some indigenous American tribe that we don't know about, simply because they after like Bacon's Rebellion, they started classifying people based off of skin tone and not because of like nationality. So all the darker skinned slaves were just
That's where
labeled
the
as
term
Negro.
Negro comes from. Negro, which means black skin
Exactly, Negro.
in
Yep.
Spanish.
Exactly.
And
They all just
because
got.
with the Latin word Niger, which means black.
Yep. Exactly. And here's something else I even learned about too. You can find this in this book called Encyclopedia of American Indian Contributions to the World. Basically,
Yes.
we low-key have more in common with the so-called Aztecs than we do the so-called Egyptians, because the Aztecs put jewels in their teeth, similar to what we know now as grills.
Yes.
They played basketball, like similar to what we play basketball today, where it's like a hollow rubber ball.
You talking about the sacred ball game that goes back to the Olmecs, because the
Yep.
the root genetic archetype of Native Americans is the Olmecs. But
Yep.
then when the Asians and Vikings came over there and mixed in with the Olmecs, that's
Mhm.
how that's how they came up with the branches of the Native American tribes today, like the Inca,
Exactly. Yep.
Aztec, Toltec, the Apache, the
Mhm.
Comanche, the Chickasaw, Cherokee, Blackfoot, and so on.
But you also gotta
Yeah. I was
remember
about to say, most of the people you see nowadays as Native Americans are like the Orientals, the Oriental tribe.
Actually mixed people.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We said mixed people. Say mixed people like the Creole people,
But
But
I mean, even the word Mexico means the land of mestizos, mixed people.
you got to also remember that a lot of the Egyptians, especially the ancient ones, the current ones are the Sudanese, not the Arab motherfuckers.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
Sudanese,
Exactly.
yes.
so you got to remember when people move, they brought their technology and culture with them. Why do you think?
Because the origin of the ancient Kemetic technology comes from Nubia, which is which is within it, today's Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Kenya and Uganda, because that was known as the Upper Egypt, while up there in Egypt of today, that was known as the Lower Egypt. Because in ancient times, back then, the South was actually the North, and the North was actually the South.
Why do you think they get mad when they talk about, well, we have black Egyptian rulers? No, they all were.
Exactly.
I mean, they all were ever since Narmer, also known as Menes.
Yeah, Menes, Nermer. So he
Yeah.
was the first official pharaoh.
Yeah.
And even Cleopatra, she was mixed, but she had a lot of black in her.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, thinking about Narmer Menes, he was the first one to kick out the Asiatic invaders, the Arabs and the Indo-Aryans.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we hear about this shit about, well, white people were slaves too. Slavery in America was much different. I had to tell some of my mates this. I said, anywhere else in the world, when you had slavery, even when the Jews were enslaved, right?
Yes.
They're allowed to keep their religion.
Mm-hmm.
Were they allowed to keep their names?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're allowed to keep their names. I mean, like in the concentration camps in Europe during the World War II, they were still allowed to keep their Jewish names.
Exactly. Yep.
And a lot of them still kept their families together.
Yes.
When did that happen for blacks?
Exactly.
It never did.
And I think that's what makes it so I think that's the real tragedy there. Yeah, like you said, is that, like you said, everybody went from their indigenous names to their Christian names, and then everyone being labeled as Negro, so to remove any distinctions, So I think that's the real tragedy. Yeah.
You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to contact my YouTube homeboy Super Slide 75 because I got initiated into the culture of my melanated Native American ancestors because I got a Native American name and a medicine name, and I wanted because I remember on the Wake Up Radio, Sydney Ashby did an interview with me and my personal story, and it was titled Sovereignty. And she interviewed me like about a few years ago in like 2020. And I wanted to like have Super Slide 75. I probably give him a cash app for that to happen. I want him to interview me as a melanated Native American because Tasha Z talked about the same stuff that I learned from my mama's side of the family, the Choctaw people. And then like my dad's side is Blackfoot mixed with the Ewe people of West Africa, Benin and Togo, who was used to be known as the Dahomey Empire. Because a lot of the people from Benin and Togo were enslaved in the North Carolinas and the South Carolinas.
Okay. Yep.
But then, but most of my culture is actually Native American because I can only find a African on my dad's side.
Yep.
But Hespeth, that's from Mississippi, and Mississippi was a large part of Choctaw territory.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I think my mom told me, although I need to confirm it, like on her side, like one of my great grandmas on her side was like what's it called, Creek Indian. On my dad's side, my family goes down to Macon County, Georgia, which I know that's like Yamasee territory, but I'll still have to look into it because again, I haven't had a chance to really sit down and do my genealogy. But yeah, like your story, Mac, that's like mostly the story. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. Like, there were definitely some Africans like a Phyllis Wheatley, that definitely were, taken from West Africa. But most of the, whether they were free or enslaved, were just an amalgamation of different tribes. You know what I mean? And like you said, Charles, the tragedy is that again, it's going from our indigenous names to Christian names, and like I said, losing these religious practices, so that most people they just don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. There's a place in Little Rock, Arkansas called the Mormons Center on Randall, where the Mormons keep a genealogy of the Native Americans, where they got the Native American name on one side, they got the Christian name on the other side. So all I gotta do is just trace my because the patriarch on my mama's side of the family is William Hespeth, Senior, and he was Choctaw, and he's from Mississippi. And here's the interesting thing about that: Super Slide 75's dad is from Mississippi too. So it's like. Me and his family probably could be kin, for some reason.
I remember that, my great grandfather, he was part of the Slapaho tribe.
Yeah.
And it's, it's but in seriousness, it's kind of funny because black genetics have stretched every edge of this world.
Yes.
It's fundamentally how we're told that, our history began from slavery, which is not even close to true.
No, our history actually goes back to the stars, to millions of years, because my name, Seven Moons Epic, seven refers to the seven sisters, the Pleiades. And I remember I was told by grandmother Selma and Red Wolf Man that seven refers to my God-man heritage.
Yes. And
and then Zechariah Sitchin talked about the Anunnaki. He said that the Anunnaki were black, were melanated people. And that's the debate that Zechariah Sitchin had with David Icke.
Yeah.
I was about to say, One thing that you can definitely learn in a lot of these occult circles, and you can check this guy out on Instagram and on YouTube. His name is Safa Karu, man. He has like a lot of jewels about a lot of like occult
Yes.
knowledge and whatnot. You really have to check him out, man. He's like on it. What we know is the North Star, man. That's that's of primary focus. You know, like Polaris. That's
Yes.
like what you call the North Star. That's like wow.
I mean, you got to think about it. The pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yes.
Each stone,
Aligns with the Orion's belt.
elites. Each stone is 2.5 tons. Took 2.5 million to build it.
Right.
Also, remember the grid coordinates for the Great Pyramid also matches up with the speed of light. And from the tip
Yes.
of the pyramid, 2.5 million light years away is from a star cluster called the Eye of God.
And that's what they call the Eye of Ra.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at the Thundercats show,
Yeah, that's what I
you
was
know,
talking about.
in the Sword of Omens,
It's the
the eye of Thundera is the eye of Heru, and the Star of Thundera, which Jaga had to get from outer space, is the Eye of Ra.
What does the Eye of Ra look like? That.
Yeah, that right there. Because guess what? The felines, the cat family, is the emblems of Ra.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the you see, because Amun Ra has two daughters. Amun Ra has one son and two daughters. Khenshu, Bast, and Sekhmet. And Bast and Sekhmet, emblems of Bast and Sekhmet are the lion and the panther, as in Black Panther.
Yeah.
And the emblems of Ra are also the lion and the panther as well. And then I remember this copy of their papyrus because I checked out this book called The Cat in Magic, Mythology, and Religion. And then I looked at the thing about the papyrus of Hunefer, to where another nickname of Ra is Ru, which means lion god. And then you look at, Ra is Mao. Mao is committed for the great cat. And then he has the sacred knife in his sacred paw and cuts off the head of Apophis, the reptilian,
Mm-hmm.
the serpent god. So when you look at the Sword of Omens, that's a sacred knife. When you look at the claw shell, that's a sacred claw. And Lion-O is Ru, Ra in lion form, the lion god.
I keep saying one day when I get ready, I'm going to break down African spirituality in the 80s cartoons.
But see, the thing about the Thundercats, that also comes from the Olmec legend of the Jaguar, because Jaga is the Jaguar. Because when you hear the roar of the Jaguar, you hear the roar of thunder, Thundercat. And then when they crash landed on Third Earth, right? They landed in an area that looks like the South American jungle.
Yeah, because
American jungle.
Look at the willow.
Where they have the Amazon women warriors,
The willow.
And then you look at that Mum-Ra's pyramid. The pyramid has four obelisks representing the four elements.
Yeah.
And then the pyramid of the center, man, represents Hu, the creative force of will, the soul.
Yep.
So like that and everything. You have those different schools of thought, because those animal heads actually represent different fraternities, different schools of thought, that sort of thing.
Why do you think Panthro represented so much masculinity?
And thing about Lion-O represents masculine mastery. Shout out to Cousin Tito. Cousin Tito pushes the masculine mastery movement. And Cousin Tito, also known as Scorpio and Entertainer, he's not only like a experienced exotic choreographer and exotic dancer. This dude has a degree in neuropsychology.
Yeah.
And the deepest video they ever had, he did a video with Ron Wills called The Simplex. And it's sort of like an ancient indigenous school of thought, to where you can use that to counteract the complex systems in America that stifle the collective development of Black people. and he talked about the levels of awareness. And the levels of awareness will be the arousal, input, and output.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a degree in neuropsychology. He's also a personal trainer.
Yep.
And
That's
every
great.
time Cousin T-Tal come out with his videos, man, I haven't seen nobody try to argue with him, because he also written this book called The Seduction Scriptures, which is pretty tight.
Oh yeah. And I don't know.
And he breaks down the game on a really scientific level.
Yep.
When
Yep.
I came out,
And then you look at Ron Wills. Ron Wills has 3 channels. He has the Deep Thought, Money Matters, and the regular Ron Wills. And what Ron Wills is trying to teach us how to be a complete, real, thorough man.
Yeah.
Where you not only have the game, you have the skills and resources and technology to go with the game. And see, that's the problem. That's the problem with the manosphere. They're too fragmented. They talked about game versus skills and resources. No, it's about being a complete real dude, where you have the game, skills, and the resources.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've never been against the self-improvement, but I definitely agree with you guys like you. Like, if you're gonna do it for yourself, man. You know what I mean? Do it to be holistic.
Yes, because see Boogie in the self-improvement movement, that's what he pushes, because 2 of his main speakers over there is Ron Wills and Cousin T-Tal.
Yeah.
And the thing about the masculine mastery movement is about being a complete guy, because even Cousin T-Tal talks about the diesel hierarchy of men and women, the octanes and all that. Shout out to BGS. But like, even Ron Wills said in one of his videos, I mean, every now and then, women would also have sex with a so-called non-select man. But like, the term select and non-select man really depend on the women that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because you may be you may be non-select to one tribe of women, but select to another tribe of women. Because a healthy black man would probably be non-select to a dysfunctional black female, and vice versa.
You got to realize
Exactly.
it's all about timing and location.
Yeah.
Yep.
People don't like to talk about that. It's about timing. I had plenty of girls that said, I wouldn't date you normally. I know, but you still can't unsuck this dick. So,
right. And thing about David Carroll, rest in power. He said, man, dating and getting with black women is really not difficult. You just gotta understand them. Understanding them is the key to getting with them. Because David Carroll said, you want to have a plethora of black women, go to church on Sunday to meet them, and be sure you have your articulation right and your clothing right, and have a car. You in there. And that's why I told a friend of mine, a friend of mine named Stefan from Arkansas. I said, man, if I go to church, man, I'm gonna go to church to holler at some women. I ain't worried about what the pastor talking about. Because I'm pretty good with my scriptures as well. Because if you look at who's the Mac of the Bible, the Mac of the Bible is King Solomon.
King Solomon. I was actually just about to say that.
Wisdom. He had the wisdom, the articulation, and the wealth. So that was the first time I learned about being a real complete dude, because Solomon had the game, skills, and resources. And then when he was describing the Song of Solomon, he said that his legs were like the cedars of Sharon, and his stomach, his belly was like a breastplate, a chest plate of inlaid jewels. So in other words, he was being described as a built dude.
Yeah. So he had the physicality, the knowledge, and the money. He was what you call Lex Luger, the total package.
Yeah, the total package. He was sort of like Batman, the total package.
Art, I'm actually playing Madden now, and we already know that you run. If you ran in real life like you do for me in Madden, you'd be pretty fucking fit, nigga. But anyway.
Yeah. Hey, I noticed the background of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, man, and I noticed that there's this graphic novel called Truth, Red, White, and Black, and it talked about the first super soldiers being black dudes in World War II, and the first one that was successful was Isaiah Bradley. He was the one that survived, yeah. And see, the thing about Isaiah Bradley, he put on the costume before Steve Rogers, and infiltrated German territory and rescued a lot of American soldiers.
Yeah.
But the Germans, captured him, and then that's where Captain America had to come in. And Captain America, man, solved the conspiracy of the corporation that was behind the Super Soldier Project back in the 1940s. And Captain America found out about Isaiah Bradley, and he told the other guys that were behind the conspiracy, which led to the killing of the commanding officer of the black soldier. He said, "Yeah, I know your secrets, man, because I am a major stockholder in this corporation."
It's a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, I'm about to wind it down. I might go to Art New Style, see what he's talking about.
Gotcha.
Thank you fellas for coming here and dropping some knowledge. Got to do this again. Probably open up Saturday birthday. I'll be 41. And
yeah, happy birthday, man.
Yeah, happy birthday, Charles, and thank you so much, Mac, man, for that information, man. Always grateful, man. Always grateful.
Yeah, glad to help, man. Glad to help. Glad to be sharing with y'all.
Brothers Fellowship. Till later. Woo! Peace.
All right, peace out.